right, main event. Everything should be running smoothly. Let's get to it here. A couple of people have been charged or had some allegations against them in relationship to men's behavior sexually. So let's go to the first one. I'm assuming this is a rapper. This is a rapper. His name is Gucci Third Leg. Apparently, he's been accused of handing out HSV2, just known as herpes. And right here, and it says right here, to her and other females. If you got herpes on your meat, inform whoever person y'all be having sex with. Let's go ahead and play the video.
I know the people that already have it know exactly what I'm talking about, but whenever you realize and find out that you have something as severe as that, it's heartbreaking. It causes you to go through an immense amount of trauma and depression. I was going through so much at the time, and I've already gone through so much, so at the time, it was very hard for me to speak up about anything. I do fully disclose anybody that I have sexual interactions with. I tell them before. Nobody is made unaware. You guys can demonize me, whatever, but I'm sorry. Hearing these girls sob and not know what to do because for a while they didn't know if that's what was going on. It's so sad because the agency does not make you test. Talent testing does not make you test for herpes.
They're prawn stars.
That is one of the only things that they don't make you test.
All right, so these are porn. Is this an OnlyFans chick? All right, so people are, I'm kind of putting together here. All of these people are pornographers, right? So I guess the agency doesn't make you test. Gucci Third Leg, that's an interesting name. That's an interesting name. But they say he handed out candy. He handed out herpes like candies out here. And these girls are being exposed. Of course, these are all underage 30-year-old women. All right. These are all underage 30-year-old women. All got the herp dirt. All right. And they say he passing it around. Okay, who did he catch it from? Who did he catch it from? Gucci Third Leg is his name. I mean, interesting, man. But here's the thing about, man, prawn stars. They do Duke shooter activities. That's probably what YouTube is mad at. All right, they be doing. That's why they mad, because I was calling that. But that's what they're all out here doing. And so Gucci Third Leg is out here giving herpes to the girls. Yeah, man, they chose these careers and lanes. Now they want to jump on the internet and they want to play the victim. With that being said, let's play this video just so you can see, and it's setting up what we're going to talk about later with this young guy, Young Philly. Listen to this video. This is a street interview, and normally these are done with drunk women, but listen to these women right here.
Your biggest turn on in the bedroom?
Turn on? Suck my toes. Suck the out of them. Nerves in the body, they're in the toes.
Pull my hair?
Okay.
Choke me out, please.
Why do you guys like violence? I'm done with this.
I love you.
What's your biggest turn on in the bedroom?
Turn on? Suck my toes. Suck.
Now, these are your future wives here. Now, I want you to remember here, these are your voting on, do you think there could be faithful women out here? Can the women in your life be faithful? Now, this is also them when they're out before you meet them when they're 29. This is them out at the bar at 24. All right, these are degular girls. All right, you just mentioned the skeezers. Of course, they drunk, and she knows that she likes her toes sucked right there. Yeah.
The out of them. Nerves in the body, they're in the toes.
Pull my hair?
Oh, look at this right here. Pull my hair. All right, pull.
Oh, the humanity.
Yep. And look how she looking, bro. Imagine the post-nut clarity after this. And ninjas, this is a ninja meet right here. Pull my hair. Here we go right here. These are degular. Pogs, too. Look at his build. And, yep, she be getting her cheeks clapped viciously out here. Yep, straight up slop-a-lop. And ninjas be pulling that hair back.
Okay.
Choke me out,
Choke me out.
please.
Choke me out. And they're not.
I like to get dominated.
Yeah, man, they're not lying. And this is what's happening, because a lot of guys want that smooth, sexy love, but a lot of women get into debaucherous sex early. And so that's going to bring into question women that are saying that this is happening. And I've been saying for a long time, this could also be part of the sexual act. Now, people are going to say not always, and I don't know what goes on in the bedroom. I'm not in people's bedrooms. But we don't know Trevor Bauer had a case where a woman said she liked to be degraded and beat up and punched and spanked and whipped. This woman says she likes to get dominated.
I like to get dominated.
Right. Choking is erotic. It does, some women do like it. Some women don't like it. So I played a video of a woman said, I like it, but he has to ask for consent. I mean, I busted the nut, but he needs to still ask for consent, right? We've played these videos of women saying that they participated in it in my own life. I know it. Lots of women like aggressive, hard. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is, but we're the dominant. They're the sub. It's just natural. I'll never be able to relate to women that like this type of thing, right? But they like it. It is what it is. Now, you do want to have instructions of them liking it, and you do know that just because they like it doesn't mean that they won't use it against you. Just because they like it doesn't mean that they won't use it against you. And for instance, Trevor Bauer's case, the woman said she liked it, but end up taking him to court. So you know what I mean? It is one of those things where it is a hard line to draw, that during the act, it might have been okay, but then afterwards, when you explain it to normies, oh, girls don't like stuff like this. I'm sorry. All right. We got a woman saying, I don't even want to choke him. Of course they don't want to choke him. All right. But women want, it is what it is, guys. It's a thing that promiscuous women and women that once they get it, they can't unget it. All right. They can't unget it. So now look, it's laughy laugh, but let's get to this part of the story. Young Philly arrested in Australia. This guy right here, Dylan Page is going to tell us who young Philly is, just so you know the gravity of the situation here and his celebrity status. He is a black male from British Columbia initially, but he is a UK ninja, and he is now being charged with grApe and also choking, dominated by someone he was familiar with. Here we go.
Who isn't as familiar with young Philly needs to understand the magnitude of this, because him being arrested is not just going to affect his career deeply, but you have millions of his followers that look up to him. He's also part of this huge friendship group in the UK that are some of the biggest creators in the world, like the Sidemen, the Beta Squad. He's got a podcast with Chunks. He's also doing a lot of work in traditional TV, like he's got his own show with the BBC called Hot Property. He's got another show with Channel 4 and Harry Pinero called The Philly and Harry Show. He's featured in a bunch of Sidemen videos, some of which have got over 80 million views, and his dedicated ones with them have over 40 million views. He played in the Soccer Aid match on ITV. He was in the Great Celebrity Bake Off. He's got his own music, which gets millions of streams every month, and he goes on tours, as he was doing in Australia, always working with massive brands. Like, he's got his own sauce with Heinz. He's worked with Meta, the British military, Adobe, Captain Morgan, and a bunch of others. And he even works with charities like Stand Up to Cancer and even the Prince's Trust to inspire young people to chase their dreams. So, point is, the fallout for someone like this that is working with and affiliated to so many different people and brands, all of them are probably going to try and desperately now try and protect their own public reputation. But we'll get back to that side of things in a second, because today he appeared in court where he's being charged with 4 counts of penetration without consent, 3 counts of assault occasioning bodily harm, and 1 charge of impeding a person's normal breathing or circulation by applying pressure to their neck.
All right, so that would be called choking. All right, as these women are describing here. I
like to get dominated.
I like to
choked, whooped, spanked.
All right, and as these women are saying here, the OnlyFans girls and all these things here, it is kind of part of what happens. So it is hard. I actually talked about a WNBA player that accused a NBA player of the same thing. And I said, I don't believe the story because it sounds odd that the guy came in the door and started doing this. I said, it could have been part of the intimate act, and she's including that in there, right? And sure enough, she withdrew the charges. Sure enough, she said, yeah, it wasn't what I said it was. And I said, exactly. Now, that story didn't get publicized. It didn't get publicized, right? When she withdrew the information, it was like, yeah, it didn't get publicized. So when the wins happen, when I say, yeah, cap, all right, it probably was part of some aggressive sex that they both participated in. And then boom, I'm just calling it. I don't know what happened in the room. So for you simp enforcers that said it's horrible, he shouldn't have done it. Hey, he shouldn't have done it. But when we hear what we're going to hear next, her own friend is going to call cap on the story, allegedly. But who was the person, who was the NBA player? I think the woman was Kayla something. Kayla, NBA player, WNBA player, and NBA boyfriend. Let me see here. The story was, it wasn't Kayla Clark. It was another Kayla. It was a black girl, a mulatto. I can't remember who the woman was. Well, anyway. So she said he strangled me in a hotel room, and she ended up retracting the story. Kevin Porter was the guy. Kevin Porter, thank you. Kevin Porter. Let's see here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Strangle. It says strangle. It says right here, just so you can see. Girlfriend of ex-Rockets player Kevin Porter Jr. denies he beat her as reported. All right, so that's an example of what I talk about here, where we're talking about. She went to the police. She played in the WNBA. She went to the police, got him arrested for strangulation and beating. And guess what? Y'all just reported that. That's not what happened. But apparently it was in the police report. It was in the initial report, and even her own ghetto-ass other sister tried to confront him about it. All right, never put your hands on my sister, right? So there's now, she pulled it back. Essentially what she did was pull it back. She reported it when she was pissed, but then when it was time to go forward, there was no real evidence of it. Then she pulled it off the table. All right, you see what I mean? But those stories don't get reported that much. They just go with the initial claim, and she was drunk, pissy. Now all of a sudden, we trying to roll it back. All right, so be careful with these initial allegations. All right, because everybody's innocent until proven guilty. With that being said, let's go to this part of the stream where this is apparently the friend of the girl who has alleged the incident. This woman on the video is not the girl. Apparently, the girlfriend is one of the boxes down here. I believe it's highlighted as this one. Let's play the video.
Is a quote-unquote victim's friend explaining on a TikTok live what she's heard about what possibly happened, and that's it.
Calm down. You have all the time in the world. I'm listening to you. I'm here. We are here. Take your time. You say what you want to say. You don't want to say. It's absolutely fine. We are here. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm just people are saying to get to the point, so I'm just going to get to the point.
No. Listen to me. Don't worry about these rascal people, you understand? Because I'll lock off comments, you know what I mean? I don't give a fuck. And to be honest, they're not liking up the live like they're supposed to, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll shut this shit off. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I want you to be comfortable in telling this story because we absolutely need to get to the bottom of this shit.
All right, so again, these UK people talk a lot. All right, so she's not the friend. Her friend is not pictured. So her friend's going to be speaking, not picture, her alleged friend.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting on here for fucking 3 hours to, you know what I'm saying, be rushed. Absolutely the fuck not. So, Cheyenne, take your time. She wanted to go back to yours to get ready for a night with Philly, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Go.
Yeah. So the club was literally in town. I lived in town. So me and this other girl, we were in the club where Philly was, and as soon as she left, my friend that was going to get ready to go see him, as soon as she left, Philly started like whining on some other girl, even though all that night, like he was like, you know, telling my friend like, oh, you know, come back with me.
Wait, but were they together or not?
No, they weren't together. Like they just used to see each other. So every time they go to a club together, they see each other on the same night. They'd always leave together, like always, yeah. So anyways, so that happened, and so I messaged her, told her like, look, he's literally whining on some other girl. She comes back within like 5-10 minutes because I didn't live too far, and next minute he's messaging her saying, oh, come to the car, I'm leaving, and he's literally messaging her like abuse, like saying like, I'm leaving you, I don't care, like, you know. And so I'm gonna have to do it. All
right, let me stop before this woman speaks here. All right, so what we got is a very, very, very confusing story where the friend is essentially saying they're not together. They're not together as boyfriend and girlfriend, but they familiar with each other. They normally leave with each other. And by the way, this happened in Australia. So this is why we have all these accents, UK and Australia. Okay, this happened in Australia. He is now kept in Australia. He's arrested in Australia. He's in Australia until the court date. And the police believe that there's enough evidence, photo evidence, and evidence from CCTV to say that we're going to keep him here. He has been bailed out, but he has to stay there pending cases because they say he's a flight risk. So they're saying, her friend's saying, they normally leave together. However, she saw him with another woman. She shows up. And then he texts her, I'm done with you. That's what they're saying so far, if you can follow it. All right, if you can follow it. So the alleged friend of the alleged victim is saying, nah, she bugging. She crashed out because he was with another girl. Now, let me just tell you what's happening here. He's a YouTuber, but he's also a rapper. As you can see, he does a lot of things. So since he's a musician and a YouTuber and comedian, he does tours. So he goes from city to city, state to state, and he does tours. And because this was one of the stops on the tours, and he was familiar with this girl in this area, that was his normal girl. But he says, no, I got another girl. All right. So if they have evidence, the evidence is not of the alleged incident. The evidence is to say she was there at the time. All right. But I don't believe the evidence says that he has evidence that he was doing something. There's also evidence that they have of physical evidence. So they have physical evidence of him, maybe some bruising. All right. They have some bruising there. So the physical evidence matches potentially her story, or does it? Because if she was at his house and she doesn't want to leave, maybe that was one way he was trying to get her to leave. I have no idea. But of course, he's innocent until proven guilty. He has also, this woman that you see on your screen, another bonnet queen, comes up and says this about the alleged victim. Now, remember, let me just say this. The alleged victim has not been named in this case. Anyone that names the alleged victim either knows the details or is guessing. So I'm playing only what they're saying. These people do not represent my views. I am not saying that she is accurately saying this is the alleged victim. So I don't want you guys to go search for this alleged victim and harass them if, in fact, this isn't the case. However, this woman says the alleged victim is known in this situation. Let's go ahead and play the video.
So before I go further into this video, I'd just like to take this time to apologize to young Philly, to apologize to any of his friends, his family, anyone associated with him. And I would also like to apologize to any rappers in the UK who has seen this and has been affected and now feel some type of way about us females in Australia. I deeply apologize. We are not like that. There are certain individuals that like to take things too far, and it gives the rest of us a bad name. I truly and sincerely apologize to all of you guys, and on behalf of everyone in Australia that has sense, we are sorry. So the media is concealing who this female is. So everyone's like, who is this mysterious female? This mysterious female is Miss Emma Burns, the one and only stripper and sex worker.
Oh.
Round of applause for Miss Emma Burns. So.
Oh, no. All right. So this woman has said the name of the person. She's familiar with the person. Okay. And she is now ahead of the details. By the way, this has been ratioed extremely high. All right, lots of likes and retweets and all of that stuff. So this is itself right here, 2.9 million views. All right, this woman has gone on to say this is the woman. Now, this woman, again, I don't know if she's white or black. This is not the woman either. The woman in the situation here, Cheyenne, is a black woman. The woman here is a black woman. All right. So for essentially, they're releasing that she released the name of the woman and said she was a stripper and a sex worker. Now, this gets a little bit hairy. This gets a little bit hairy. Now, the friend Cheyenne is not saying she's a stripper or a sex worker. She's saying they were familiar with each other and he always left with her. Okay. Now, this isn't to imply that young Philly was paying her, but he could have been, or he could have been getting it for free because he was young Philly. I don't know what's going on. This comes really confusing now because now you have the spectrum. If this woman thought young Philly was her boyfriend, but also was a stripper and a sex worker, allegedly, then that involves the spectrum that I tell you about. That basically encompasses the spectrum. If it is not the case, if she was hiring her and it went left, this does still prove that all men pay. So no matter what, all right, with CGA, but it still falls into a lot of the things that we talk about, which causes the confusion. Was it a pay-for-play act? Well, Cheyenne is not saying that. This woman is insinuating that this woman is known for that, and also is going to say later on that this woman has done this before. This is all alleged, just like the charges are alleged. All right, we don't know. They're just charges. Now, the social media, Twitter, they're all taking control saying, oh, she's known for this.
Why am I so annoyed? It's because Emma Burns' friends have come out and they have exposed her. Emma went to the hotel with young Philly and they both had a mutual agreement. When you have a mutual agreement, babes, it's consensual. So there's...
Uh-oh. No. They had a mutual agreement. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? What does that mean? Oh, my box froze up. That's what she said. All right, they had a mutual agreement. What does that mean, guys? Sound effects are gone for the rest of the show. A mutual agreement sounds like money on the table. That's what that sounds like to me. Isn't that what a mutual agreement is? We agree to consent to this sexual act. Oh, no. Yes, that's what that means, ladies and gentlemen. Good Lord, have mercy. Let me see if I can play the rest of this video. They had a mutual agreement to do something, to carry out something specifically. And once that was carried out, I don't know what happened. Let's see if we can get the rest of this video here.
There's no rape there. It is consensual. Yes, if they, take it a bit further and stuff, then, okay, yeah, it is a bit too much and charges can be pressed. But it was a mutual agreement. Emma Burns had then texted her friends and said, one of her friends, and told her friend how much of a good time she really had and that she was ready to go home. Could her friend book her an Uber? Remember that. Her friend should book her the Uber, but she's a stripper. Please remember these two things, okay? Because we're going to be very logic here. Her friend should book her the Uber. When her friend was going to book her the Uber, she then told her friend, oh, actually, I don't need it anymore. That doesn't sound like someone who's being sexually assaulted, Emma. That sounds like someone who's having a goddamn good time. A goddamn good time.
Yeah, that's hard to read into to figure out what's going on there. There could be a situation where she thought she was going to get paid and he said no. And she might have said, you better pay up or I'm leaving. I don't know. We don't know what happened there, but she allegedly got with the friend and said, book me an Uber and then called it back. All right, no, that's okay. I'll stay.
Because if you were being sexually assaulted, you are in a hotel where there are hundreds of people on the same level. You could scream. You could text a friend because it seems your phone was working really fine, Miss Mams. You could run down to reception and tell reception to call the police.
Now, a lot of women are going to take offense to that because a lot of women that do express that they've been violated in a way, raped or assaulted, they don't scream, kick, or cry. All right. So CCTV would actually reveal what was her state when she was leaving. But there are some people that do say women don't literally scream, kick, or cry. Let me show you this woman here, right here, just so you can see this woman, what she says. This woman right here. All right, here. She's going to say just because a woman goes back to someone's hotel or apartment, that it's not their fault. All right, so let's see if you guys can pick this up.
How shocked I am about this whole situation because I listened to the podcast. I really loved them off. Not going to talk about that. What I am going to talk about is the men. Guys, I've heard this comment so many times before. Yeah, even my ex used to live by this comment of, well, she went back to the hotel room. Well, she went back to his house. So what she had the intentions to sleep with him. But what else did she think was going to happen? It doesn't matter. And I can't believe how it's such a common thing for men to have this opinion and they say it as if they're so in the right. They're like, well, she went back to the hotel. Oh, like, yeah, I'm not making excuses for him, but she went back to the hotel. So, like, what were her intentions going back to a hotel with young Philly? Do you know what I mean?
Care, like.
All right. So essentially, she's saying she should be off the hook. Women should have the ability. Let me see if I can go full screen on this one. I got to use it manually because my box froze up. All right. And I have to remember how I can do it manually. I hate when that happens. All right. This is where we are, guys. This is where it makes it. Of course, we're dealing with underage 30-year-olds. They're all under 30, so these are all children, according to our earlier podcast. So essentially, it doesn't matter if the woman goes back to your hotel. She has plausible deniability that at 2 a.m, she was just going to play dominoes, checkers. All right. She had no intentions for no sex again. So that's not consent going back to the hotel. All right. This is the difficulty that we deal with here because they believe that they should just be able to go places where they want to go. And then that's not consent. Just because I went back to your house is not consent. Now, as men and knowing the law, we're going to tell you that's true. We can't tell you that they shouldn't think that. That's what they think. Now, that does give them a little bit too much power because if they don't do anything like kiss, make out, have sex, but they came to your house at 2 and you say, well, if you're not going to do anything, you need to leave. That gives them way too much power. Any woman that has ever told those words, they simply don't leave. Watch. Anytime you've told a woman, leave, what do they normally do? They sit there. They protest. They might start crashing out and knocking shit off the counter. They tell you they're not going to leave. They'll tell you to call the police. So this is where this situation does happen to young people. And it is a hard thing to deal with. Like, how do you deal with a woman that says, I'll come over, and then she comes over, and then she says, don't touch me, right? You're like, whoa, why are you here? If you're not going to do anything, why don't you leave? I don't have to leave. They end up staying when you tell them to leave. So this does cause a whole problem. Now they might extort you. She might extort young Philly. I'll tell them you grape me. There's women that use those words before. And then I tell them you grape me if you don't give me $500. Bitch, I ain't giving you shit. As soon as she leaves, now you getting arrested. This happens. This is crazy. This is why it's hard to deal with what these charges actually are, because we've seen stories of these charges go absolutely nowhere. Right? Once this starts going down and reeling it out in court, they actually go nowhere. So we got more video here on this subject matter. Let's go into it and see what Cheyenne has to say. Were we talking about both of these women? Yes.
You know, and so I've got a video of this, by the way. So we go to the back of the club, me and my friend, and then the girl that's going back with Philly, like, she gets in his car and he's literally shouting at her saying, like, no, get out, I don't want you here anymore, like, you're taking your time, whatever. So anyways, later that night, it was around like 3 a.m, she goes to his hotel, she rings me, and she says, she's like whispering, she's saying like, oh, like, Siren, can you come, like, get an Uber from me, like, whatever. And I was like, are you okay? And she said, no, like, you know, I need to go. And she's like, actually, no, wait, 1 minute. Anyways, so later that morning, she told me what actually happened. So she wanted to leave around 3 a.m. when she called me, but then he apparently, she said, oh, you're either staying and take your clothes off or you're leaving. So she stayed because they had history, and she just felt like, you know, he had all this power. Like, she felt so gullible in the moment. And when she told me that story, like 8 a.m, like, she came literally to my place, makeup on, everything, like, from the night before. She looked like
a lot of this stuff ain't even adding up. This guy was on tour in Australia, I'm sure. Like, how?
Yeah, this ain't adding up. The story's just not adding up, unfortunately. You know, we don't have all the court case documents and all of that stuff. We don't have all the evidence, and we never will. But, you know, she calls a Uber and says, pick me up, or calls her friend to sketch. Why she ain't got no Uber, right? I'm telling you, these strippers be broke. A lot of these girls at the JUCO strippers, even when you give them money, they still be broke. All right, I've been telling y'all that for a minute. This woman even's going to spell that part out right here. You called your friend, then he threatens you, gullible, because you have history, so you take your clothes off. That's what she's going with right here. Let's see here.
Your life was at any danger, or there was any threat of your safety. Those are 3 things you could have done. Screaming would have probably been the best one, because I can guarantee you there would have been someone next door, because we know how hotels in Australia is. Booked, packed, and busy. Okay. Emma, you are a sex worker. You are also a stripper.
Oof.
There is nothing wrong with that, because if I could shake my ass and get a little coin, I will too. So I am not bashing you for that in any way, shape, or form, Emma. But it's pretty obvious your stripping career isn't taking you anywhere. The fact that you have to ask your friend to book you an Uber.
Now, let me tell you, man, young girls, I mean, maybe you guys, we could do a poll on this. There is almost, when you're dealing with younger women under 30, they don't be having no money, bro. Like, they be out here broke, catastrophically broke, meaning that they only got money on a Cash App. They don't have a bank account to transfer the money in, because some of them, these apps shut them down if they're doing any level of sex work. So they do detect that, and they won't let you use some of these apps. Some of them don't have a credit card, a bank account, a debit card, nothing. And if they do, I don't care how much they making, they ain't got it. Some of them work all cash, so strippers work all cash. They don't put it in a bank account. So all they have is cash. Therefore, they many times can't order themselves an Uber. All right. I've known that to be the case with lots of girls. Some of them don't have cars or any of that. And it's absolutely crazy. All right. It's absolutely crazy that they are out here just on, like, with nothing to move around the world with. And if you leave them stranded, odds are then they can't even get around. They can't even get around. So what they're saying, what she's saying is absolutely true, that it happens. And this is also women that work nail techs, eyelash techs. They are all working kind of cash and moving around. They don't have finances absolutely straight. All right. They don't. And if they have bank accounts, them bank accounts are overdrawn. So if they have a bank account, they're overdrawn, meaning that if you say, okay, I'll give you $20 on Cash App to order order an Uber, they'll say no, because they can't even transfer it to the bank. They transfer it to the bank, it's going to get summed up in bank fees. All right. So you guys got one of the things about the JUCO, watch out, try not to deal with women like that, because they move around like this. And you're like, how in the hell do you get around? How the hell you get around? Rides and tricks and Ubers, and they get around crazy. So this woman saying she's broke, but it could be something else, that she had to call the friend up to get an Uber, which is very common. Very common, guys.
Now, WA. I'm not from WA, but currently I am in Western Australia. Western Australia is not like other states in Australia. Example, Sydney. To get a 30-minute ride on an Uber could cost you about $80. In Western Australia, when I do book Ubers, somewhere that's 30 minutes away, it can cost me $15 to $20.
All right, who cares what she's saying about now? I don't care what you're talking about now. She made a good point, and she's going viral for trying to call out and stand up on the side of trying to, let's be obvious about this. Something doesn't add up. Unfortunately, you do have a lot of people say you weren't in the room and you don't know what happened. And he has a history of maybe saying some commentary related to, dealing with women in a certain way. Although when they played the video, I was like, that's not much. All right, you guys are reaching, just pulling little things out here and there. They say he defended Diddy. I don't know. They could say the same thing about me. All right, they can pull some clips about that as well. So unfortunately, that's the case with the young guy, the young Philly guy. What say you? Let's put up a poll. Let's put up a poll to see what happens on this one here. Again, we don't have all the evidence. What do you think about this case? Think about this case. All right, he did it. And or false alligator. All right, by the way, for people who don't know, we have false alligator on our page here. Oh, I can't play the music. All right, because my box froze up. All right. You never want my box to freeze up. But we do have the false alligators here. And there have been cases where women have been very, very angry at the moment. We can't deny this. We can't deny this. We don't know about it in this case. But women have been very angry and vicious and very sure of what happened on 1 minute, and then the next minute, not. All right? 1 minute, they're like this, talking that shit and whatnot. But then they end up like this. I mean, it's hard to figure out. He was very much a target. He got caught slipping. He wasn't on his P's and Q's. For young men, oh, by the way, YouTubers are surpassing a lot of people in the entertainment industry for Gen Z. By the way, Gen Zs, they don't look at movie stars as celebrities anymore. Like they are, but they aren't. Movie stars have to still use social media to become relevant because movies only come out every so often. You still have to be visible. Their celebrities are streamers and YouTubers and this type and the like. All right. And these men are out earning even the major actors and rappers. With that being said, you're a target now. All right. It's no longer you just a YouTuber and you a loser and you make YouTube money. YouTube money is big money out here. People are surpassing these we're now finding out rappers don't make no money. The majority of them in their first 2 or 3 albums, they are making not a lot of money, although they're the ones out there that throw the money around like they got it. All right. They tend to struggle making money. We are now told that actors, how many actors have come out? How many actors have come out and said they got screwed over and they had an Academy Award movie and they didn't make no money? They made $40K on one fucking movie. Dude, a streamer making $40K a day, certainly a week. Streamers are making that in a week, eating that shit up. And they making the real dough. And people are supporting them and they're making the whole money off the platforms. Right? We're finding out the musicians and the actors in the movie, they ain't making no money. Only the top 1% of the actors are. But these streamers are making the big bags. So these people still be like, oh, you just a YouTuber is all gone. You're now a target. And now with that being said, aftercare. Aftercare is so important. And sometimes things do get out of bounds and get out of your control. And there's really nothing you can do about it. I try to say, you know, have some rules. Don't bring girls home at 2 a.m. You know, try not to stay up at 2 a.m. starting bullshit, right? You want to start the girl off. You probably don't want to do these things. So you have to have some protocol on how you're dealing with women going forward. And if you were doing some sort of aftercare and it didn't work out, sometimes one slips away. All right. Sometimes it slips away, man. It slips away and you get gone. You get charged with a case like this. With this clip, check me out on the Free Agent Lifestyle channel for the best morning live stream every weekday. And of course, we're back for the evening live streams as well. Check out the times in the featured channels on this channel right here. And also the links are in the description box. I will see you there.
New world order.